The Land of Roar, Chapter 26. We're pulled in Mitch's boat on a winding journey through the archipelago and then out across the bottomless ocean. The sea isn't wild here like it is around the Crow's Nest, but it's still rough, and the three of us are forced to huddle together as waves hit us on all sides. The bumping and bouncing stops when we leave the bottomless ocean and sail up a wide river. We see the tangled forest way before we reach it. It's a mighty wall of trees that rises up and dominates the skyline. The merfolk stay with us, pushing Mitch's boat closer and closer to the forest until the trees tower over us, their leaves blocking out the sunlight. One by one, the merfolk slip away, until just the first merboy is left pulling our boat. I hope he knows what he's doing, I say, gripping the side of the boat as we race towards the wide trunks. Look! Rose points to a dark gap between the trees, almost hidden by trailing leaves. The river seems to disappear into it, and at the last possible moment, the merboy lets go of the rope and shoves us towards the gap. Then, with a wave of his hand and my watch and my socks, he gets ready to swim away. "Wait!" I shout, suddenly realising that the fidget spinner might not be the only thing that lets people get out of Roar. "I'm sorry, but I really need my stuff back. It's an emergency." The merboy scowls and thrashes his tail from side to side, but a second later my wet socks fly through the air, hitting me in the face, followed by my watch. The merboy vanishes below the surface of the water, and I take one last look at bright blue sky. Then the boat drifts inside the tangled forest, and darkness wraps around us. We float into a strange, shadowy place. Creepers and vines twist between the trees like vast webs, and glowing buds blink in the darkness. Leaves seem to tremble for no reason, and a curious, oozing, dripping sound fills the air, along with the clicks of hidden insects. "This place is creepy," whispers Rose. "I like it," I say. I might hate heights, but the dark doesn't bother me at all. It's still in here, and peaceful, a bit like a cathedral lit by flickering candles. Caught on some invisible current, Mitch's little boat carries us deeper and deeper into the forest. Eventually the river disappears between the roots of an immense tree, and we can't go any further. "We have to walk now," says Wyn. We climb out of the boat and scramble up the bank. The height of the trees makes me dizzy, and when I look up I can only see the tiniest pinpricks of light breaking through the trees. Down on the dark forest floor, paths crisscross each other, and the glowing buds stretch into the distance. Suddenly, I realise how hard it's going to be to find the lost girls. I feel like we're moving away from Grandad and the Crow's Nest, not closer. "This place is massive," I say. "How do we even know which path to take? We could be searching for the lost girls for days." Wyn strides towards a narrow track. "It's this way." "How do you know?" says Rose. "Because I read the sign." He pushes back a vine and we see a wooden sign nailed to a tree. "The Lost Girls" is painted on it in wobbling brushstrokes, along with an arrow. "And look, there's another one." He points to a tree further along the path. "Then I suppose we follow the signs," says Rose. And although this seems suspiciously easy to me, we all head off along the path. As we walk further into the forest, Wyn practices his stealth walk. This involves him trotting from tree to tree on tiptoe. Every now and then he says, "Can you see me?" And we look up to see him standing very still in front of a tree with his hands in front of his face. "Yes," says Rose each time. "Not really," I say to make him feel better. Soon we're hot and sweaty, and the Lost Girls signs have become much harder to follow. Vines twist in ever thicker tangles between the trees, and we're reduced to climbing over and under things to keep going. And the signs pop up in the strangest of places. At the top of a tree, in the middle of a hollow log. We even find one submerged in a murky pond. As we wade through the water, it's hard to shake the feeling that the Lost Girls are playing an elaborate trick on us. Eventually, we get to a sign that suggests we have to go through the middle of some brambles. "No way," says Rose. "I'm not doing it." Wyn examines the bush before dropping down on his stomach and wriggling underneath it. "Hurry up," he calls from the other side. "You've got to see this." I go next, and when I pull myself out, Wyn is already halfway across a rope bridge that stretches across a ravine. The bridge is long, droops down in the middle, and is made up of battered planks of wood tied together with fraying rope. Before I follow Wyn, I peer down into the ravine. Below I see the river with the rainbow shine that runs through Raw. Lime green crystals cover the riverbed, making the water glow in the darkness of the forest. Chunks of crystal stick out like jagged teeth, with water foaming and crashing around them. I pull out the map and see that the river cuts through the middle of the tangled forest and leads directly into the bad side. "Come on, Arthur," calls Wyn, deliberately wobbling the bridge. "This is fun." The moment my feet make contact with the planks, the bridge starts to swing even more wildly from side to side. I hold on tight to the handrails. "This thing does not feel safe." "It's fine," says Wyn, and he jumps up and down to prove his point. Just then Rose scrambles out from under the bush and joins us on the bridge. We start to walk along in a straggling line. "One thing I don't get," I say, trying to ignore the alarming gaps between each plank, "is the signs. The Lost Girls are into hiding, right?" "They're a guerrilla unit," says Rose. "They train in secret, then commit daring ambushes and raids." She almost sounds as excited as she says this. Rose loved the Lost Girls and was always trying to persuade me to go looking for them. "But that's what I mean. Guerrilla units hide out, and the Lost Girls have retreated deep into this forest, so I guess they don't want to be found." "What's your point?" says Rose. "My point is, why would they put up loads of signs telling us how to find them? Don't you think this could be a trap?" Up ahead, Wyn stops walking. "That is a very good point, Arthur." And at that moment, a shrill giggle makes us turn around. Standing at the start of the bridge is a little girl. She looks young, about 6 years old, and has bare feet and is wearing a yellow t-shirt and shorts. She stands there staring at us and sucking at the end of her plait. "Hello," says Rose, breaking the silence. The girl smiles shyly. "Is she a lost girl?" I ask Wyn. He shrugs. "I don't know. She looks a bit clean." "Maybe she's lost her way in the forest," says Rose. Then she calls back to the girl. "Do you want to come with us? Do you want us to take you home?" But the girl's not listening. She's taken something out of her pocket and is busy fiddling about with the ropes of the bridge. "What's she doing?" asks Wyn. I shade my eyes from the sun, but the girl is standing in the shadows of the trees and it's hard to see what she's up to. "She's got something in her hand," says Rose. "I think it's a penknife." That's when I see the blade glinting in the sun and realise Rose is right. The girl's got a knife and she's calmly using it to saw at the rope of the bridge. Suddenly one of the handrails droops. "Run!" cries Rose. "Run!" We turn and start running, heading for safety on the other side of the bridge. But the girl's knife must be sharp and she must be stronger than she looks, because first one handrail goes slack and then the other. They slip from my hands and I fall to my knees and grab hold of a plank. Below me water tumbles over the rocks. I can't crawl. I can't move at all. The bridge is wobbling too much. "Hold on!" screams Rose, and that's when I feel the bridge collapse beneath me. I wrap my arms even tighter round the plank as we hurtle towards the side of the ravine. I brace myself just in time, then we slam into rock and thick trailing plants. Twigs scratch my face and my knuckles are bashed, but somehow I cling on as the bridge bounces. Once, twice, then comes to a stop. I'm frozen with shock, my whole body trembling, but I manage to get my feet up onto the plank. Up above I see Wynne do the same, scrabbling to find a footing. The bridge is resting against the side of the ravine and has become a ladder, a dangly, unstable, terrifying ladder. Then I remember Rose. I look down and see that she must have slipped when we hit the wall of the ravine. She's hanging off the very end of the bridge and with one arm hooked around a plank and her legs swinging in thin air. I open my mouth to speak, but no words come out. Rose looks up at me with wide eyes. "Massive head rush!" shouts Wynne, and his laughter echoes across the ravine. Rose just hangs there, hugging her plank. "I think I'm going to puke," she calls up to us. "Or fall, but I don't know which I'm going to do first." I swallow. "Just hang on," I say. For someone who's afraid of heights, dangling over a ravine is about the worst thing that can happen. A cold lump of fear has formed inside me, and right now I can't think about helping Rose. The only thing I can do is concentrate on not freaking out. The bridge creaks and dust and stones fall down on us. Rose yelps and I shut my eyes and wait for the rocks to stop falling. When I open them again, I look back across the ravine. The sweet little girl who just tried to kill us gives me a wave, then vanishes into the forest.